I'm Greg McCoach, the mining speculator. Glad to be here. Love this conference. I love the intelligence of the investors that show up for this conference. They're very educated about the issues that we're faced with in our world and why gold is going to be the primary beneficiary moving forward. So let's just get into what I'm going to be talking about. Think if I had any other initial comments that I wanted to talk about. Oh, just I have two of my companies that are in my newsletter today, Max Tech Resources and Scotty Resources, and they will be presenting after myself. After they're done, we'll be moving outside, going over to the question and answer room right afterwards. So anybody who would like to ask these gentlemen specific questions, feel free to follow us. So, with what's going on, like I said, I agree with everything Jordan just said. I believe, as I stated in January here at this show, that gold was going to break out in 2019. It has. We are in a pause. Jordan calls it a correction, consolidation. I believe it's going to be very brief. Who knows exactly how long, but I think it's only going to be a few months at most. And I think by early next year, we're going to see a big change happen in that regard. And gold's going to start moving again. But to describe what I see going on in the financial world, the powers that shouldn't be in this world, as I like to call them, the PTSB, for those who read my newsletter, the things they're doing just keep getting more and more absurd. And I was trying to, as a wordsmith, I was trying to look for the word that spells this out a little bit better. And ludicrous was the word I came up with. And the definition, of course, is causing laughter because of the absurdity of what's happening, provoking or deserving derision, ridiculous, laughable, right? That's what I see central banks, other than their buying of physical gold, right? What I see them doing with these negative interest real rates, and negative yielding bonds, and on it goes, and the debts, and it's bizarre, it's illogical, it's preposterous, right? And yet they've gotten away with it, right? They seem like they can keep doing this indefinitely, but I'm here to tell you, smile, be happy. Gold investors are about to have a major turn in our favor. So gold is pausing briefly in its long-term ascent to a new high. That's going to be well over $2,000 an ounce. Gold was up 19% during the summer months despite the strong U.S. dollar. And why has the U.S. dollar been strong? Because the Europeans that have money in their banks, they don't want to pay their banks to hold their money, so they're buying dollars. So this is a surprising development, to see the dollar, which is still the cleanest shirt in their dirty laundry, as Richard Russell always describes, that this is happening, but that is coming to an end as well, I believe, now that we're into these real negative rates. So gold moves when real rates are negative. Real rates have started to decline as interest rates in the U.S. cuts have been implemented. This is the new reality. Negative real rates always push gold higher. So that's the biggest message. I think Jordan stated that. I think Gwen stated that yesterday, and Jay. Of course, this is a major reason why gold is really going to start to take wings now. Of course, the currency wars, as I've described, it's a race to the bottom. Everyone's trying to gain unfair advantage over the other. Led to trade wars, and the bond market's a complete mess. 17 trillion in government corporate bonds of negative yields. Countries like Italy, Spain, what was the other? Greece, yeah, all issuing negative yielding bonds. It gets crazier and crazier every day. But this is what central bankers have to create when things get this absurd in the financial world, and all these bubble markets have to be maintained. We're also seeing, Europe moving towards recession, regardless of the quantitative easing that keeps being pumped into the system to pump the bubble markets even higher beyond these crazy valuations they have. Political tensions rise dramatically in Hong Kong. That is getting quite scary, and elsewhere around the world. So these are all good drivers for gold in the near term. Gold is the only true safe haven left for smart investors as far as I can see it. A lot of these people usually go out of the Dow stock market when that starts to correct and go into bonds, but that market's been destroyed. Other than raw land, I've had several conversations with several billionaires lately that in addition to buying physical gold, they're buying raw land. and tangible. You got to buy tangible assets to protect yourself, obviously. But the mining stocks, the quality mining stocks as well, as we know. More and more countries are hoping for a US dollar demise and trading in other currencies. The abandonment of the petrodollar. This has been a progression that has started years ago. I started talking about it when I first saw it. That is well advanced at this point. Many countries use other currencies than the dollar to buy their oil, gas around the world markets. Also, I think we're finally getting to the point, we've talked about this for a long time, you could see this coming. The loss of the benchmark currency status for the US is gaining momentum as the cleanest shirt in the dirty laundry becomes soiled itself with real interest rates going negative. And I don't see any reason. I totally agree with Jordan. I think it's almost 0% chance that the Fed can raise rates now. And that's the real reason why that's finally going to be something that has to be dealt with. And that's a comeuppance that's going to be incredibly good for gold. Someone said yesterday, but that'll drive gold prices into the stratosphere. It may not be a world we want to live in, right? So some truth there as well. I'm saying that gold now is going to move when it starts to move, whether it's mid-December, mid-January, March. I can't say yet. It's too hard to call those kind of things, but I'm telling you, gold's going to 1675 to 1725 in this next March. To go higher than this to a new high, which would be over $2,000, we need a major catalyst like a collapse of Deutsche Bank or something similar in magnitude. We also know about a big US bank that's in trouble. My guess, it's hard to get enough evidence to prove it one way or the other, but it's either Wells Fargo or Chase. Major big bank in the US in big trouble. Deutsche Bank, you can see the data, you can see the writing on the wall. They're in such upside down trouble, it's unbelievable. Those things are going to start to show up like the AIGs and the Lehman Brothers and Bear Stearns. Those things will start to happen. And then there's dozens of these potential black swans that could act as such a catalyst, but we don't know when they'll show up. So that's just an ongoing thing we have to kind of monitor. So with such a gold price, here's why I'm getting really bullish for us in the gold mining stocks. The major gold producers at 1675 to 1725 gold price are going to be raking in the profits. And as this happens, it will prompt buyouts of the top-notch discoveries and massive reinvestment into exploration. It's already starting to happen in a slow way, but I see the first signs of it. To just mention a company here that I met with yesterday, American Pacific. Go check them out at their booth right outside the door here. They have major investment. Majors are coming in to invest in what they're doing. And it's a telltale sign that the majors are very interested in replenishing the reserves, as we talk about. This will also be the key to further prompt more funds back into the exploration sector. As I mention all the time, my favorite conference of the year, the most important one I attend, is the Beaver Creek Precious Metals Summit. And there was record attendance. All these guys are kicking the tires. They're looking at the juniors, but what they're buying, for the most part, other than a Great Bear in the exploration world, they're mostly ignoring the exploration stocks because they don't want the risk. But they are buying the advanced stage bankable feasibility study ounces and quality companies like an EMX or royalty type plays. They don't want the risk yet, okay? But moving down the road, as the gold price keeps going higher and the world's financial situation gets dicier, they're going to come into anything gold. And so we're starting to see that. That's a key factor. Even though we're in this, feels desperate again, right? We've been here for so long. We feel these desperate moments as investors in the junior mining shares. But I'm telling you, this is going to change. And this is another reason why. The majors are going to be making a ton of money, and that money is going to start to flow into the buyouts. I think a company like Great Bear that we followed and made a lot of money with, this time next year, that's bought out at a large multiple to where it's trading right now. And the majors will be fighting for that one because it's got such an incredible story of infrastructure, key jurisdiction. So as the overall overvalued general markets begin to tank as all this starts to happen, I think general investors will finally find their way towards the only true safe haven, which is precious metals and precious metal mining stocks. They will be late, but they will come with a vengeance, trying to protect their gains from Dow, pot, and crypto. Many will hold too long and will lose, unfortunately. I'm all about sell the overvalued markets. I've said this at the last conference. I'm saying it again. Buy the undervalued precious metals. It's just how the contrarian thing works. We're at that moment. Currently, even investors in junior mining shares, even those of us in attendance, are still a bit shy to really come into our market, but they are and they will. Only the best of the best companies have really begun to move, and even then, all are still at ridiculously low levels compared to where these companies will soon be. For the precious metals junior mining shares, the next 6 weeks look like an excellent buying opportunity in the highest quality companies. We're getting a chance. This to me is probably the last hurrah to buy low before you really get rocking and rolling. I'm guessing 2020 to 2021, by the time we get to this time next year, we are going to be flying. Things are really going to be going. So I'm preparing for it. I'm positioning myself. I'm taking positions in great exploration stories that I'm going to talk about here in a second, because we can make a lot of money in this market as it changes when you buy low. So one of the things I'm a treasure hunter. I love the treasure hunt of the business that I'm in as a newsletter writer. I love doing the site visits. I love evaluating projects. But my real heart is in the exploration stocks and trying to figure out which one of these. There's so many companies I look at, and I say no a lot. But just like with Great Bear, there was something about Great Bear that just stood out to me, and that's the reason I did the site visit and did the focus brief before the big discovery hole. It just had that extra something. It's so hard to get all the pieces and then to get some information, new information, or some spark that really takes it to the next level of excitement to be involved with these things. And so what I've seen is it's gotten difficult these last 7 years because the nasty short-term shareholder dilution has made it increasingly difficult for truly new grassroots or greenfield exploration companies to flourish. In other words, it takes too long. In a tough market where their share prices are low, the shareholder dilution just goes boom, 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 boom. Within 2 years, you're already at levels that are crazy that, even with success, you're not gonna perform very well. So that's made our market, and that's made investors like us shy away from being very aggressive when we sense that the market's gonna go again. Increasingly, I feel speculators like myself must use the knowledge provided by other companies from the past or some new information that keys a new discovery. As I'm talking to these companies, unless I get something that really gets me excited to the point where I just have to own these shares. I want to buy immediately, right? I don't want to wait another second. I want to be involved with any private placements. I want to buy in the open market. When I have that excitement, that's a company I get behind. So when I'm looking at exploration stories, I'm looking for those set of circumstances that have a certain spark or a set of sparks that could ignite a new discovery or merit. Look beyond the givens. Of course you need a good management team and all the good infrastructure and the good jurisdiction and the something that can set themselves apart. There's a lot of those. But now what I'm talking about is that even go one step further, that extra thing that really takes it to the next level. And today I have two companies that I'm going to present to you, and they're going to give you the detailed explanation of why I'm excited about them for your review. Look for the exceptional details. A known exploration area suddenly gets some new information. That makes everyone rethink things. The example of Great Bear Resources, it's totally turned the whole Red Lake camp on fire again, okay? A known successful proven exploration team goes into the field with new technology on a solid, more advanced target. Sift through the existing data once new information is received and see what it tells you. Sometimes it opens up the whole deal. When I go back and review what happened with Great Bear there, it's so readily apparent that, just think out of the box just a little bit. Turn the drills the other way, 180 degrees, right? So when I see the things in these stories I evaluate for recommendation, it makes me feel like you can't live without owning the stock. This excitement for the potential to make money is unmistakable when you experience it. And that's what tells me that I want to be involved. For truly spectacular gains, specifically look for, and again, we all want to make the big money. And I always say that, in anyone's position, you can't really depend on it. But if you get 4 or 5 of these things in your portfolio, the odds, you greatly handicap the odds in your favor because, one of those is going to do very, very well, and you really don't care what the other ones do at that point. So that's the way I look at things. But in several situations that I'm presenting today, and I'm going to give you a list of companies that I feel are my top exploration picks that have this kind of excitement for 2020. First thing, the market just doesn't understand the opportunity yet. Something, but coming to these conferences, you get to know first. You're the first investors that get to hear these things at this type of conference. So it's very valuable to attend a conference like this. And something that the market has not yet fully understood, and you get to buy before they do. Of course, great share structure, the tighter the better, of course. Low price, the lower the price, the better, of course. Great jurisdiction with infrastructure for potential buyout if successful. But here's the key that I'm seeing in the market that we're faced with, that we've been faced with. You need to have a situation that's basically teed up so that it won't take long to test the theory if this is right and find out if we are right or wrong. If we're right, we're off to the races. We get to raise money at a much higher level. The company's well-funded and gets to move its agenda forward for many years. If we're not right, we must reassess, all right? And that's just the nature of speculative investing in exploration stocks. But this is why I'm really getting quite excited, because recently I've come across some stories that everything seems to line up the way I like to see it. And then there's this X factor of extra information. Something new happened that really has me jazzed. So here's my top exploration picks that I think have the biggest chance for a big new discovery in 2020. Not 2021. With a few drill holes, these companies can blow it much higher, okay? Scotty Resources, SCOT. I'll just say a couple things because they're going to present here. But here's a company up in the Golden Triangle, and some people don't like the Golden Triangle, but I think that area is so highly mineralized that it's, handicapping the odds. The odds are much greater that you're going to make those kind of big discoveries up there. Is it an easy area to invest in? No, because the seasonality is brutal. Some of the Toronto guys that I was just talking to a couple weeks ago, they call the Golden Triangle the Bermuda Triangle. Put your money in and watch it disappear, right? It's you can understand that, and but anyway, Scotty has the Scotty Gold Mine, which was in production in the 80s, 150 million in infrastructure, and the mine was built. And so, but the key that really, aside from being in the Golden Triangle in a primary area surrounded by, Pretium and Ascot and all these Tudor, all these good companies that have had success, we're smack dab in the middle of this, and we have a huge land package. But the thing that really got me, I was all ready to buy, but then I heard that Ron Nedlitsky, a legend in the exploration business, had been trying to get this project for 30 years from an Australian gentleman who owned it but did nothing with it. And Ron, on his own dime, just decided to fly the airborne survey to see, if his hunch was right. Well, it lights up like a Christmas tree, some great targets to drill, some of which are close to the mine and could be on trend. And so it's very exciting when you see this. And once I saw that, I just, what do I have to do to get involved? Buy whatever I can afford, right? So big time potential for a new discovery in 2020. The company has done some work, which they'll explain here in the fall, that they just completed and still has assays to put out. In the tough market right now, I don't expect, even with good news, we know it'll sell off, right? But come next spring, when this thing starts to drill, the excitement's going to be there. The next one is Max Tech. Max Tech, is a company that recently acquired a project on trend with the Dixie Gold Project from Great Bear, right? And what really got my attention was that the geophysics hadn't been implemented on this project yet. So Great Bear makes their discovery, they blow open the understanding. We get the project, we apply the geophysics, and the similarities. I mean, I'm looking at these maps and the geophysical signatures, and you see these traps and these folds, exactly what has made Great Bear what it is today. And it's on trend. So seeing that kind of situation and a company with a tight share structure really has gotten my attention. Jim Rogers will be here to explain that. VR Resources is a company I've followed for 2 years. You know about them. They've been at this conference multiple times. They are drilling 2 projects right now, either one of which with a few drill holes could take this stock way higher. I think it's trading around 28 cents right now, but very, very exciting situation. And Discovery Harbor Resources, which is a company I'm a new recommendation in my insider alert. It'll be going into my mining speculator here real soon. What got my attention there, it's in Nevada, great jurisdiction, but they have a 6.5 kilometer strike length that's been drilled by a major that was looking for the Round Mountain model. Shallow, disseminated gold, lower grade, but easily made economical. The gold's there, but it just wasn't big enough. And so they let it go. And so Discovery Harbor gets it, but they never tested below 80, 90 meters, where the epithermal gold, the source of this gold, probably emanates from. And the excitement there, because of this cap, the silica cap, is 6.5 kilometers long. That, geologically speaking, that has me excited. So there's the fourth one. I have 2 others I was going to bring up, but they'll probably be with me up on the stage in January. So I will talk about those then. So these are 2 more that I'm very excited about. So with that, my newsletter, if you want to subscribe, www.discoverynexus.com. Thanks for listening. First up is...